Part 3. The Boiling Point. The cell door creaked open, and the horned creature's elongated fingers wrapped around my arm, pulling me into the corridor. As we walked, I noticed changes in my own body that filled me with revulsion. My skin had taken on a sickly, translucent quality, and I could see dark veins pulsing beneath the surface. My nails had grown long and yellow, curling like talons. We entered a vast chamber I hadn't seen before. Cages lined the walls, each containing a writhing mass of flesh that might once have been human. Some moaned piteously, others clicked and chittered in inhuman voices. The stench of rot and chemicals hung heavy in the air. In the center of the room stood a massive apparatus, a twisted fusion of medical equipment and arcane machinery. Tubes and wires snaked from its core, connecting to the cages around the room. As I watched in horror, a viscous black fluid pumped through the tubes, flowing into the caged creatures. Their screams reached a fever pitch as their bodies contorted, bones cracking and reshaping. The horned being guided me towards an empty operating table at the base of the machine. Terror seized me, and I tried to resist, but my emaciated body was no match for its strength. As I was strapped down, I noticed movement from the corner of my eye. What I had thought were shadows began to peel away from the walls. Amorphous, inky forms slithered across the floor, leaving glistening trails in their wake. They converged on the table, their cold touch seeping into my skin as they explored my body with unseen appendages. A masked figure approached, pushing a cart laden with rusted surgical tools. Its eyes glowed an unnatural green behind its goggles, and its hands moved with an unsettling, jerky rhythm. As it leaned over me, I realized with a jolt of horror that its skin was a patchwork of mismatched pieces, crudely stitched together.
Begin the integration,
it rasped, voice like grinding metal. The shadow creatures swarmed over me, their touch burning like acid. I felt them seeping into my pores, worming their way beneath my skin. My veins turned black as the creatures invaded my bloodstream. I screamed as the masked figure began cutting, but no sound escaped my lips. Instead, I heard a cacophony of alien voices in my head, whispering secrets that no human was meant to know. Visions flashed before my eyes, vast cosmic entities, the true nature of reality unraveling, the insignificance of humanity in the face of powers beyond comprehension. As my consciousness began to fragment, I saw other patients being wheeled in. Some were fresh arrivals, their eyes wide with terror. Others were in various stages of transformation, their bodies twisted into nightmarish new forms. I realized with growing dread that this wasn't just a rehabilitation center. It was a factory for creating something else. The horned creature loomed over me, its blank face inches from mine. For the first time, I heard its voice, not with my ears, but directly in my mind. It spoke of a grand design, of breaking down the barriers between worlds, of a new era dawning, and I, it said, would play a crucial role. As the black fluid began pumping into my veins, setting every nerve ending on fire, I felt my sense of self beginning to dissolve. Memories of my old life, the addiction, the streets, the despair, seemed to belong to someone else. In their place, a new purpose began to take root. The last thing I saw before losing consciousness was my own reflection in a polished metal surface. My eyes had turned completely black, and something moved beneath my skin, reshaping me from the inside out. I knew then that whatever emerged from that table would no longer be entirely human, and a small, fading part of me wondered if this was truly better than the life I'd left behind.